Jesus freak here. Now and then I get asked about my religious persuasion. There's certain things about it that would make you guess one thing or another. And the results, honestly, can be a bit confusing if you think about it. You can frequently see in some of my videos, especially the Sunday scripture readings, that I use an Episcopal prayer book. But I'm not an Episcopalian, never have been. You'll see that I almost always, when I reference scripture, I do it with a KJV. And yet, if my faith tradition ever had an official translation, it was the NRSV, a translation I'm not really a fan of. I've discussed believers' baptism, something I'm a strong believer in, and as a lot of faith traditions claim to baptize infants. And I say, look, what you're doing isn't baptism. Don't call it that. Although my interpretation of Scripture is somewhat nuanced, in the main, it's been so literal that I've had people say I take it too literally, and some of them have even been hardcore believers in literal interpretation of Scripture. And yet you find me quoting John Wesley a lot. It's hard to place me if you try to piece together the little details by themselves. It's kind of by design. I am a lifelong United Methodist. That's just the way things are. But overall, my persuasion is, as a biblical Christian who just happens to attend that church, who just happens to prefer to attend that type of service, and you can see elements of this in the Sunday videos. I use the Revised Common Lectionary. I sequence the videos more or less based on a United Methodist Sunday service pattern, within the limits of the fact that I'm not doing like a sermon or anything, and that I have to alter or remove anything that's a responsive reading for obvious reasons. Pre-recorded videos aren't well suited for interactivity. I do happen to agree with, I guess, a lot of what one would say makes Baptist Baptist. I just don't happen to be a Baptist. The idea, I guess, I've always been the type of person that's not really easy to put into any particular category. The square peg people try to fit in a round hole. I had been asked the type of church I attend, so I wanted to, explain where I was coming from, because the answer is kind of complicated when you get down to the nitty gritty, what they were really asking. What type of Christian I am. And when the rubber meets the road, when it comes down to the brass tacks, I'm a Bible Christian. As anyone should be. Jesus freak out.